WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. Today is really Baltimore Positive because I'm in the middle of Baltimore. I'm in Fells Point. I am roughly, well, I could throw a baseball that far, about 40 feet away from where I had my first illicit drink at Fells Point when I was 16 years old. Dionysos right here. We're at Chop Tank. I'm at Fells Point. It is all presented by the Maryland Lottery. I brought my mask. Brandon Scott, our mayor, is going to be joining us at Coco's on the 17th, but we are at the Chop Tank today. There's going to be a crab cake, not in this segment because he came too early. Patrick Sutton is here. He is my guest. He has no idea what's going on. He married my childhood friend. We've known each other. You've never done the radio show. It is all presented by the Maryland Lottery. This is where we let ourselves play. It's a Friday afternoon. We're in the middle of Fells Point, and I was looking for neighborhood guests. Mm-hmm. So I said to Jen on Monday, because my back's been all effed up, I'm actually sitting for the very first time in a long, long time, other than driving my car. And I said to Jen, I'm like, damn, I'm doing the show Thursday. I'm in White Marsh and Perry Hall. I hope I can get some guests. And then I said, I'm in Fells Point Friday. I'm going to call some people. And I'm like, well, Ed Lauer doesn't get out of bed till 2 o'clock. So, I better, at least make him the last guest. And then I reached to Merritt Dworkin because she knows everybody in Fells Point. And she's coming a little later on. And then I reached to Ron Furman because I used to drink at his place. I used to hang out at his place I used to report on concerts at his place back when I was 19 and 20. And he's coming. And then my first ever sponsor is Tony Tochterman. Tony's going to be coming by a little later on from Tochterman's Fishing and Tackle. And Jen says she needs waders because we've learned how to. I'm old enough that I want to fish now, not golf. But you are one of my original dudes because 20 years ago I was redesigning my place. You had your place next to what was my Cheers, Reggie's. Reggie's was my hang because I moved to Federal Hill in 2003, and Hockey Mag and Kenny Ballgame lived right around on Henrietta. And I would be down there and Patrick Sutton home. And I'd be like, ooh, he got some nice stuff in there. Look at his taste. That's nice. That's up my alley. So my wife and I, we were traveling a lot. We would buy these big, thick-ass magazines that were at the time, really expensive, $6.95. And they would be all these home fashion. We're trying to pick out our toilet, our shower, all the stuff we can't sell and we can't give away living in the city right now. And I reached to you. And you were dating this beautiful lass, Monica, is what we called her in Dundalk, but her real name's Tracy. And, when did you meet Tracy? Because I met Tracy on 428 Kane Street, also underage. We won't talk about that anymore, a little red light outside. When did you meet Tracy, your wife?
I met her in 2012 at a street festival. Sorry, 2002.
I was going to say, she was in your life when I met you because I met you through her. Because, I knew she had a fancy, hotsy-totsy designer friend, and I was designing my Newhart condo in downtown Baltimore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I reached to you, and she's like, I got a guy. I know a guy. He'll help you out. And I didn't even know you were, dating. I didn't know anything. I just knew, oh, the dude that had his car rammed through his window down there in Federal Hill, that dude, Patrick Sutton.
Yeah.
Patrick Sutton home. If he designs my place, it'll be like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, man. My place will be awesome because we were watching Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Well, actually, it's more like a straight guy with a queer eye.
That's what you are?
That's
all right, well, that gets us off on the right step. Because I've often wondered what makes you you. And you were like the nervous guest, and I have a lot of it. Don Moeller does the show with me every day, and he sends these long notes. I don't read them. He doesn't. I don't read them. I didn't read Moby Dick either. I did the Cliff Notes. You know, I can tell all these stories. Now, I never read Grapes of Wrath. I did read East of Eden, and I did read of Mice and Men. Lenny with the mouse. I could have gotten that from the Cliff Notes, though, right? So you text me and you said, "What are we going to talk about today?" And I'm like, I've drank beer with you in 15 different places within 30 feet of here. I didn't attend your wedding because it probably happened on a hill someplace, and I didn't go. I see all your pictures from Colorado. I love your wife. I loved your wife a long time before you loved your wife.
Yeah.
So I figured we would talk about fashion today and what you do. And you designed this, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
So I thought it's even better. And I feel I'm embarrassed that I invited you last. I didn't think of you Monday. I thought of you Wednesday or Thursday.
I think you gave me at least 24 hours notice.
That's not what friends do. That's not what friends do on a show, That ain't right.
It worked out.
But for me, I've known you forever, and I think of all the drinking, eating, ball gaming, kibitzing, socializing, I don't think I've ever, other than the first time I met you, and you came into my house and sort of eyed some stuff up, And I've never even asked you like where you went to. I don't know anything about you other than you're Tracy's husband. So this is a great chance to do that.
Well, that's how most people know me, as Tracy's husband.
That's how I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, but I also know you've designed like half the city, like literally.
Well, it is my adopted city. So, I grew up in New York.
Where?
I grew up in Westchester, in Chappaqua.
That's it. The 917.
Yes.
It's the 917.
No.
The 914.
I think it's 914.
914. That's what. Okay. Okay. So you grew up in Westchester County.
Yeah.
All right. So that's suburb. You're a New Yorker, though.
Yes.
You spent weekends in the city.
Yes.
Okay.
I was born in Manhattan. Moved to Hawaii when I was 6 months old. My father then moved us
Which
back.
island?
Oahu. We lived on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived on the right on the country course.
So the first shave ice you had wasn't called a snowball in Dundalk.
It was definitely not. In fact, when I lived in Hawaii, I didn't own a pair of shoes. It was just like 19. Well, I better not say how long ago it was.
That's all right. I was born in 1968. I'm 53 years old, and my back hurts, and it's about time.
Yeah,
I've been carrying people. So you grew up in Hawaii?
First 5 years of my life, yeah.
5 years. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember a little bit about it.
Well, you go back now, so like you can go back and like remember things, right?
Yeah, I haven't been back in a long time, but yeah, I moved there in '63, and there was not a lot of people there. It was pretty cool. It was like when Hawaii 5-0 was a thing, right?
See, I see everything that the foundation does around town. Harry and Jeanette Weinberg,
right?
They fell in love with. Do you know this? They fell in love with Hawaii.
No.
They have a Hawaii office. It's my dream to run it. I keep telling Gallagher that. Yeah. I said, when I run foundations, after I run the city, I'll run foundations, and they'll move me to Hawaii, and I'll die on a hill somewhere there in Oahu. I had never been to Hawaii in my life, and I've been all over the world, but we avoided Hawaii because it was expensive, and if I was going to spend that much money, I'll go to Australia, Jamaica. Places I'd like to go. It's a long flight, and I put it off, and we finally did it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did it when – it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago when Lamar won the game in Seattle.
Yeah.
That was Halloween week, and we just tacked it on and went. And Southwest started flying there like 4 months before. So we had a free flight to Hawaii. We had a free we had cheap rooms. And then we were in Seattle, and then we went. And we added 4 more days because we loved it so much.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to go back. I'm really looking forward to going back.
The thing that's so interesting about Hawaii, the thing you asked me if I remember it, the thing I remember most about Hawaii is the smell. The pungent smell of beautiful tropical flowers just hits you when you get off the plane. Now, when I say when you get off the plane, back when I was living there and you get off the plane, you went down the jetway down onto the tarmac,
right?
And it would just that frangipani would just hit you.
The airport looks like it was built in 1950. Still, it's still an outdoor air.
Is it?
Well, Tracy, remember this? It was sort of like the wind tunnel outside Dundalk High School where everybody smoked before you went to the radio. Somebody asked me about the radio station at Dundalk the other day. I'm like, yeah, it was my homeroom. So it's like al fresco airport. That's what I think of Hawaii.
Yeah.
But I wasn't hungover, but I had a lot of pineapple. I think the rule in Hawaii was if it says shave ice, we pull over.
Yeah.
And we just get it.
Yeah.
And I literally, I'm such a jerk. We were there like 9 days. I had 40 shave ice. I'm not kidding you. I spent $300 on shave ice.
That's a lot of brain freezes.
No, and you never, ever get the shave ice in Hawaii without getting it snow capped. Yeah. You got to get that condensed milk poured
on top, yeah.
That's the good stuff there. Patrick Sutton's my guest. He's Patrick. Are you still home? Is a home in the word?
No. So Patrick Sutton Home was a retail outlet. We're a design studio. So we thought at one point, as one of my clients said, every designer goes through the retail phase. So we thought it would be a good idea to open up a retail store.
So you can have somebody like me there and show off and be like that.
Well, what's interesting because we had a lot of people that would come through the store, look at everything, but not buy anything. So we thought maybe it would be a better business model if we just sold tickets for admission. So that was.
So for me, it was like it was a store. I didn't ever think of buying anything in there. I thought of it as like, oh, this is nice. He could design my home. I thought that was the idea.
Well, it wasn't the intention, but that's actually what happened. So like people would come through and they're like, oh, look how well this is put together. And
would you rather sell a $10 widget or would you rather get like a job?
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought it was a staging environment. You know what I mean?
No, I think we were buying speculative, beautiful things, objects for our clients, and rather than having it sit in a warehouse somewhere, we thought, well, let's put it out on a retail floor so people can actually see it. But I think retail is a very difficult business model. It's almost especially here.
Well, what I would say to you is down in Federal Hill right now, walking around a little bit, places are coming. Your space, those spaces, people are trying to do things. Black-owned businesses, female-owned businesses. People, there is movement in that area now.
Yeah.
I live there. I'm walking through. It's not just I'm trying to sell my house. Yeah. I love Federal Hill, but seeing new people come, it's hard. It's
hard.
And new people come when the old people fail.
Yes,
that's really what happens.
Yes,
and
you saw a couple of big box places go out. I mean, chauffeurs that had been there forever is gone, which is kind of sad. But you're right.
And we're wondering what becomes of that. What becomes of Reggie's? What becomes of whatever those places are? And they become NOLA when Riley's goes out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I was at Mother's doing the Maryland Crab. By the way, we're doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. It's presented by the Maryland Lottery. Your friends are freaking me out being behind my camera and behind my equipment. It's just completely freaking me out. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Everything about the table freaks me out. Yes, thank you. Tony Tochterman, look at you. I know. Do you know Tony? Do you know Tony Tochterman? Tochterman's Fishing and Tackle.
How are you?
Look at this. See, this is the neighborhood tour. So what happens on the neighborhood tour is we order fried chicken that we keep off the set. I invite friends that meet other friends that may or may not know each other, and we tell stories. Tony, get a drink. Relax. I'm going to tell stories about 1992. I've been fishing. It's all good. I'm fishing for design right now. Do you still have a store frontage, or what are you?
No, we don't. We're just a studio now. So we just design.
Well, tell me where people find you, because I know of you through that. I know of you through Tracy, and I really know of you through designing most of a lot of Sagamore stuff, a lot of Alex Smith stuff. We're here at Chop Tank.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen you, you've been working on. And I run into you every 3 to 6 months, and you're on to the next awesome thing. And I've never really sat with you and talked to you about it. So, I mean, even this space here is so uniquely Eastern Shore. Having been all over the Eastern Shore in August and gained 12 pounds, you're always charged with a different thing to do, a different inspiration, right?
Yeah, well, fundamentally, my company does two things. We design luxury homes for wealthy people. And then we design hospitality projects, so restaurants and like the Pendry Hotel and things like that. They're very, very different things. When you're designing a restaurant, we do a lot of like Atlas Group restaurants like the Chop Tank. And
they have to be functional, right? Let's start with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A home has to be functional, but there's many ways of functioning a home. In a restaurant, there's ingress, egress, and it's much more complicated than people think. And how I know that is my wife loves watching these television shows.
Yeah.
And redesigning and, all the mission to fix places and make them better. And people come to you. And a lot of times it's a beginning image, right? Like this was sort of an empty space, right?
Well, it was an empty block, to be honest. So I mean, the courtyard that's outside, which thank God we have people that have the vision and will put the money into invest what was a horrible, ugly parking lot where people would basically go to shoot up. And now it's a beautiful courtyard.
I went there to park. I never shot up there, but I always felt like if I got to park there, that was good because I could stumble into Rotos over here, Green Turtle, This was premium parking, but there were only 8 spots.
Right. And it was weird spots. They were all diagonal spots, too. But now, now you have this beautiful courtyard out there. But, the thing that's interesting about restaurant design is that, when you think about making a decision to go out to dinner at night.
Sure.
Or during the day or whatever you're doing.
Where am I parking?
Well, I think what you're doing is you're not making a decision of do I want Italian food or do I want Chinese food or do I want this. You're actually trying to decide what kind of experience that you want to have for that evening or that day.
Sure.
So, like here, we're an immersive, Chesapeake Bay experience, right? So you're sort of feeling like you're immersed in Fells Point. You're in the heart of Fells Point. You really want to be part of that.
This is when I bring the fried chicken into the shot because, I ordered the Eastern Shore fried chicken. Now, look, man, I'm a Rofo guy. I mean, Rofo's my spot. But I ate the chicken here one time, and it was so good that I wanted to split it with your wife, Tracy. So I ordered the fried chicken today. But I'm getting the crab cake later. It's a crab cake tour, I swear. But once you spend a little time on the Eastern Shore and you find decent chicken,
you got to go.
This was part of my experience of coming here. My immersive experience was having the coleslaw. So,
yeah, totally.
And the French fries that the son didn't like, but I like them. So anyway. So keep going. Immersive.
Yeah. Go. So
you want the experience.
You want the experience. So for example, we just did a restaurant called Monarch for Alex Smith, who also owns this property.
Now, where's that?
That is over in Harbor East. So that's right next to that whole group with Tagliata and
the alleyway. And Disco Pizza.
Atlas Quarter is what they call it.
Sure.
And so that is a burlesque theater experience. So what we're doing
that's
there
French.
It's French. So we're transporting.
Better be red.
It's definitely red.
See, I got design in me. See that?
Yeah, I'd stick to the radio though. But anyway,
I've been to Paris.
So anyway, so the idea is that you want to be transformed into that experience. You want to be in Paris in the 30s, right, or the 20s or 30s.
Perfect.
So, or if you're Taliata, you're going to like a Tuscan, farmhouse that's been transformed into like an elegant eatery. All those things. Or Lock Bar, which is really.
So I've been to all of these places. So keep going.
Yeah. Well, so like all of these places have a story, that you want to if I'm going to Lock Bar, I'm going to an Americana oyster bar, right? Like that feels like it's been there forever, And we did restaurants.
Well, Alex is interesting too because he gets so many different brands, right?
He's.
Just different. All of these places are. Now, this feels like Watershed to me, but Watershed's a little hipper, a little more. It's not as Eastern Shorey.
So Watershed, I think, is geared to a little bit younger demographic that are getting ready to go to the football game.
Guys like me.
Yeah.
Younger demographic.
Young
guys in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Bad backs.
But Alex is amazing. He has an incredible ability to understand like what people are yearning for. And then put that story together, and then my job is just to execute what that story looks and feels like, and what's it feel like when you walk through the door.
Patrick Sutton's my guest. It is the Maryland Lottery presenting the Crab Cake Tour with fried chicken and coleslaw and French fries. But we'll get to that. We're at the Chop Tank. We're down in Fells Point. I grew up here, so part of the neighborhood tour was to come out and be with friends and meet friends. Right now, your wife, my childhood friend, is talking to Tony, who I met in 1991, was my first ever sponsor. My 30th anniversary is coming up in 4 weeks, so I'm celebrating. So I put this whole idea together to eat these crab cakes, to get out and see the state, meet people, and then the lottery wanted to sponsor it, and I've got some other ideas for sponsorship. So I started moving it out, and it just gives me a format to like sit and talk to friends about what they do. I don't go out and drink anymore. I'm not young anymore. I'm not so this is my chance to and I've known you 20 years, and I didn't know you spent your formative years in Hawaii, West. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
I'm a bad cocktail friend, aren't I? I mean, I give terrible cocktail. People want to talk to me about football, you know? What do you want to know? You were at the Vikings snow game, or were you not 8 years ago?
I don't think I was. No.
Oh, my God. That was the most fun game ever.
I don't think I remember the game.
Well, you drink at games. I mean,
that's
probably it too.
Yeah.
So for you right now, the COVID thing, the last year and a half, run me through that, because I think for every industry it's been shaken. I mean, you build these beautiful places, then we couldn't go to them and sit down and eat. I mean, and I spent 18 months talking about that. We're coming out of that right now. Industry-wide, new things opening up. It is, I think, everything's shutting down. What I talked about in Federal Hill, things are opening up. So for people like you, people have visions of what the next thing's going to be.
Well, it's a great question, because I think what we've seen when COVID hit, we were on vacation out of the country, and we were like, all right, well, what are we flying back into? And I had some conversations with some of my colleagues around the country about like what that's going to look like for their company, and we all said, well, should we start thinking about cutting back? Well, the interesting thing that happened is, with everybody stuck at home, everybody was thinking about reinvesting into their sanctuaries and their homes. And our business blew up because everybody wanted to do a new house somewhere, out in the country, wherever it was, and have.
So you went right along with the real estate. The real estate market blew up. I mean, people wanted homes, right?
When somebody buys a house, they got to redecorate it and redesign it. So yes.
See, it's so funny when I ask you that question. I was sort of like, I hope things are okay, because I've had. I remember the liquor stores went crazy in the beginning, then they couldn't sell anything. The weed stores sold a bunch of weed, and then they stopped. Things were really, and now it's more about. Cole Roofing is one of my sponsors. I had Bill on. He's like, if you want your roof done, order it now, because
100%.
the parts aren't going to come in.
Yeah.
So I would think that you're supplying things that come from other parts of the world that you want.
There was a confluence of events that took place that was just making very challenging, right? So there was a massive demand on building and renovating and redecorating, right? So wood. Then you had ice storms in Texas, which who knew that the entire U.S. foam industry relied on Texas for their foam because it's a petroleum-based product. So all those ice storms shut down all the foam industries. So foam is used for like upholstery, insulation in your refrigerators.
Tony's not. He's like, I remember the House of Foam. Remember the House of Foam?
I remember the House
of Foam. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So for us, we had a bunch of projects where we're doing kitchen renovations, and basically the contractors are like, you should put the renovation off for 6 or 8 months because we can order the fridge now and maybe we'll get it in 8 months. So it's kind of crazy. And on the flip side, on the restaurant side, it's kind of what you were talking about before. I mean, like a lot of people struggled and went out, but those that had the staying power or the vision realized that when everybody gets out from underneath this being trapped at home, they're going to be yearning to get out and socialize again. And for those people that reinvested and put it into it, they're seeing the payoff for it now.
I had to think about that when I came from the city up Pratt Street and made the right. And I found a parking spot right, a block up, and I'm like, I better take it because it's all parklets.
Yeah.
There's no more parking down here, you know. So I think outdoor dining, the way people are thinking about outdoor spaces, that's probably been what you talk about here at the Chop Tank. There is an outdoor space that was designed that way. I've just seen so many places now saying, all right, we're going to design something outdoor. Amici's has opened an alley in the back that I've been going to Amici's 30 years, didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
La Scala did the same thing. They completely redid their outdoor space. I mean, we didn't design it, but they redid their outdoor space.
But utilizing outdoor space is great, especially 6-8 months of the year as global warming. I mean, they offered me outdoor today, and I'm like, nah, my Latin blood, once it goes below 60, I don't like it. Patrick Sutton's here. Tell me how to find you and if they're interested in what you do.
Sure.
Everyone has seen your work. By the way, I invited another buddy of yours, Juan, from Sagamore.
Oh, yeah, Juan Webster.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So,
what a nice man, by the way.
When my wife had cancer the first time, we were throwing an event with Chuck Pagano and some folks to raise some money for There Goes My Hero.
Yeah.
And he was running what used to be the Omni, or what I would call the Omni. I guess that would be the Hilton. What was it? Next to the Lord Baltimore, big ballroom.
Oh,
it's had 5 different. It was a Hilton. It was maybe a Sheraton at some point.
Was that a Kimpton?
No, up the street from there.
Okay.
But it was a big property. He was running that property.
Yeah.
And because we wanted to have local restaurants cater the event.
Yeah.
No offense to the Marriott properties and those places, but you have to use their caterer, and that was not my jam. My jam was, I know Alex, I know Steve DeCastro, I know Amici's. I'll have food. Juan let us use the ballroom at a very, very, and he was awesome. And then my wife got cancer again and almost died again, and then we did another event that was even bigger and better. We had Billick and Tomlin and John Harbaugh, and he had it again, and now he – you make a LinkedIn friend, and the next thing you know, you're like, you're running the Pendry. Look at that James Bond stuff you got on the walls there. Oh, Patrick's doing it. I know Patrick.
Yeah.
And I've been out their pool area. That's another. The Four Seasons. There's been so many things that have come on.
Yeah.
Since I got married, since you were in my home 18 years ago talking about design in my place, that have made the city better.
Yeah.
And that's why Baltimore. That's why I come, because there are a lot of great things about this city that you've participated in and been a part of, and people, and I don't know that we talk about that enough.
You know what's really interesting? When I first moved here, I graduated college in Pittsburgh.
You left. That's good. Traded up.
I was actually got a great education at Carnegie Mellon University, so plug for them.
But you left.
But I left.
Yeah.
All
good ones do.
I didn't want to go back to New York because my dad was a big personality there, and I was getting offers to go down to Washington, D.C. I looked at D.C. I was like, this city just doesn't feel like it has the soul that I'm looking for.
Right.
And the firm that was recruiting me out of college was headquartered here. They're like, well, why don't you give Baltimore a shot? We're right up the street. Just take a look. I came. I looked at the city. I thought, this city is really charming.
You needed a Dundalk girl in your life.
I did. But I came. It was 1985. I said, I'll give it a year. I'm still here. That was 36 years ago.
Well, dude, I'm embarrassed I've never had you on the show, but I'm glad you came by.
Yeah, man.
You want French fry or something? You just coleslaw?
Oh, no, I'm good.
I'm splitting the chicken with Tracy.
It's going to be cold by the time you guys get to it.
Remember our New Year's parties? I would get all that Bojangles chicken from Merritt Boulevard. We'd bring it down, heat it up. Yeah. Sabaro's baked ziti and I went all out on New Year's Eve on Kane Street back in the 80s, man. Some Bon Jovi, cranking up some Van Halen. The cops used to come. That's when the party ended. Usually. Yeah,
You mean they weren't invited?
My wife thought it would really deter me from running for mayor, that I had these skeletons on Kane Street in the 80s, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Tony's rolling his eyes because he knows what I used to do with his employees back in the 90s. It was a long time ago. Tony Tochterman's going to be our next guest. At some point, Eddie Lauer's going to come by. I don't know if he's bringing his guitar or not. Mayor Dworkin's going to be here a little later on as well. And Ron Furman is coming over from Max's. I call it Max's on Broadway because, that's what I call it. It's a tap house. All right, well, he'll be here a little later on to yell at me. Tracy, next time I'm going to have – am I allowed to have your wife on the show?
Well, she's much better looking than pretty much anybody
No doubt
else.
about that.
But, yeah.
I'll tell Tracy this. Every time I make a left turn at Ron at Ron Furman's place, there's a bar called Bar. You familiar with Bar? Tony knows Bar. Tony's been carried out of Bar back in the 60s. And Pearls. When I go to Pearls, I think of you, Tony. But it's crazy I know so much about the bars down here. Maybe that's going to be my fate at the end. Give old bar tours on Broadway and Thames. So Bar, every time I go past Bar, I take a picture of it and I send it to our mutual friend John Keller in Little Rock, Arkansas, who left us. Left us to go live in Arkansas. Gosh, we used to play pool in there. Absolutely. Beers were like 50 cents.
Oh.
Yeah, back in the day. This is before Fells Point became a tourist destination, before all the Bertha's. Yeah, I've never had Bertha's mussels in my life. Don't tell them. I'm going to tell Merritt this later. I have to go over there and have mussels one day.
Well, now you do.
I'm wrong. I mean, it's really wrong. And there have been some Baltimore things that I've never done, and people are like aghast at me that I've never done that. And I'm like, I don't know. I just have never been in there, but I should. I'm going to do that. It's Fells Point Celebration. It's a neighborhood tour. It's the Crab Cake Tour, all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Let yourself play. I'll be having you've had a crab cake here, right?
Oh, yeah, many.
I've never had the crab cake here.
Yeah. You know the whole story of the one-star crab cake, right? Well, we'll skip over that.
No. What's the story? It's a crab cake story. I need to hear it. You had a bad crab cake somewhere?
No, I didn't. No, unfortunately, they get the.
I had 42 crab cakes in August. I did have a really, really bad one in St. Michael's. I sent it back.
Crab cakes are delicious here, but some reviewer didn't like it and actually gave them 1 star. So they actually now.
That was the French fry lady from the Sun. Yeah, that's why I made the French fry joke.
Well, they've leaned into it now. Now it's actually literally called the 1-star crab cake on the menu.
Well, I'm going to get the 1-star crab cake.
You should.
And if it's 2 stars, it'll over-deliver. It'll under-promise and over-deliver is what it'll do.
Exactly.
Well, the crab cake thing came together partially. Well, I'm not going to tell the real story, but the real people know. But I put it together thinking it could be something that we would visit and have a crab cake. I didn't realize how different every crab cake. It's the ultimate thing to do like this because I don't even know what to anticipate.
Yeah.
And I've been looking online at pictures of crab cakes before I pick places. Now I'm just blind. Now I'm just, you know what, man? You serve a crab cake, I'm going to eat it. And I'm not going to judge it against this crab cake or that crab cake. I'm just going to judge it for what it is.
Yeah, do you
it's
like
salty, buttery. If I like it, it's on a roll. If you want me to put cocktail on it, I won't put tartar. I mean, unless there's really special tartar. Tartar sauce is garbage.
Well, I never understood the crab cake sandwich. Like, why would you put bread over a crab cake?
You sound like an out-of-town guy now.
Do I?
Yeah. You don't sound like you're from around here.
36 years.
What did you think of the first crab when you got it, when you came here?
I thought I wanted to wash my hands every 15 minutes, and then I got over it.
One of my dearest friends in the universe is coming to town this week, and he works for the Vikings. And they come every 8 years. I've never taken him out in Baltimore. He's taking me out in Minneapolis. We party at the Super Bowl every year. So it's a big deal. And my back was a mess, and I was like, I hope I get better. He's coming in. Obviously, I feel good. I hit him on Monday and Tuesday, and they lost this week bad, so it was a bad week. I gave him a little breathing space, and I'm like, all right, dude, it's going to be crabs or crab cakes. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. I want to give you an experience. Shellfish intolerant. Oh. So he gets me this, and I'm not disappointed because I'm having a crab cake today. I had one yesterday at Silver Spring Mining. It was delicious. And I'm having 2 next week. I'm at Fadley's Wednesday. I'm at Nick's Grandstand on Friday, and then I'm with the mayor at Coco's, and I haven't had a Coco's crab cake in 20 years. So I'm eating these crab cakes, and people are like, I went to Silver Spring, they're like, don't get the crab cake, get the crab pretzel. The crab pretzel's famous. And I'm like, I'll get them both. That's why I got the fried chicken here.
How was it?
Delicious. And somebody wanted me to get the ribs. I didn't. And then Greg Landry, Santoni got the sour beef and dumplings. They're also famous. So it's not like just a crab cake or just a fried chicken. The French fries are famous here from the Sun Lady, right? The 1-star crab cake. They are. But these crab cakes everyone is sentimental about it. It's my grandmother's recipe. Yeah. It's a recipe I stole from Angelina's or I got here or there. Everybody has a different one. Yeah. And that's what's made it fun. Yeah. I mean, from a food conversation standpoint, everybody will jump on the table and say, this is the way my grandmother made it or whatever. But when people come here, I feel more compelled than ever as a 53-year-old. And Trace will tell you, in Dundalk, we go crabbing down Bear Creek. It wasn't a big deal. Crabs, I thought everybody had crabs. I thought it was like pizza. You could get it anywhere. And then you get older, and as you do get older, you really realize if somebody's coming here from some godforsaken place like Texas, take them out for crabs because it's the one thing you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get a bag crab cake in Maryland, but I've had a couple. I'm going to piss on that theory right now because I've had awful crab cakes on this tour.
Yeah, well, it's funny when you leave Maryland and you go get a crab cake somewhere else. It's funny how they shred up the crab and it just loses it, right? The whole lump is where it's all about.
Well, look, I don't know Alex Smith well at all, but if he were here right now, I'd kiss his ass a little and say, look, I would trust the Lock Bar crab cake at Boca. You know what I mean? If I were in your place in Florida, because it's you, I would order it. But you don't order a crab. I mean, you're a fool if you order a crab cake out of Maryland. Like, if you're a Marylander, well, this brings it back to the full point about the crab cake, why I've never had it here. I have always had a crab cake sponsor. I've always had 5.
Yeah.
I've had Fadley's. Costas has been with me forever. Before that, The Barn, Michael's, and Timonium. Greenmount Station has an unbelievably delicious crab cake in Hampstead. These are my sponsors.
Right.
I'm out doing a show. I got football players. You know how many football players I've had a crab cake with at The Barn, Greenmount? I'm always in front of a crab cake, so much so that my wife didn't like crab. She likes it now. We've never made a crab cake in my kitchen because somebody's always sending me home with one. Alex will send me home with one today. And it'll wind up in a frying pan on Monday in my house. And I have a crab cake from Silver Spring Mining Company in my refrigerator. So when I would go out, the last thing I'm thinking is, I didn't think, well, I wish Amici's had a crab cake. No, I just, I get crab cakes when I bump into them. But when people travel here, they should seek out a really good one. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give you the real story. Can I get a beer? Because this is a beer story. Yeah, I'm going to tell the real story. No, you know what? I want a Guinness. Can I do that?
Ooh,
I want a Guinness Dark. I want to get like a Guinness.
No, I'm good.
Give him a Guinness. So here's the real story. And I'm going kayfabe right now. And I haven't started drinking. My cousin came here last year during the plague. All right, my cousin's a little more right wing than I am, and he was looking for a casino that was open. It was dead of winter. It was the night before the AFC Championship game. I thought I might be in Kansas City, but we lost, right? Mm-hmm. So I said to him, I'm in town. So he comes into town. He brought his company, so 12 people, wives. It was his Christmas party because there was no Christmas. It was a holiday thing, right? It's in January. $29 flights in from North Carolina. Brings everybody, wives, and they're getting all smoked up. They're drinking, partying, wearing their mask in plastic booze, gambling at live, right? This is January 18th. Comes in and says to me, hey, man, I'm bringing the whole company in. I'm going to take them to X, and I'm not going to name X, but I used to promote X. So now you know why. So he proceeded to come into town on a day when there was an ice storm, get 3 Ubers, spent $71 in every Uber, spent $800 at a place that used to be a sponsor that now supports my enemy. And he came home and was drunk and told me about it. And I said, dude, 10,000 places to get a crab cake in Baltimore. You had to pick that place? Like, come on, dude. Like, come on, you're killing me. So he went over to Costas and spent $1,000 and brought me food back. So I appreciated that because he said, I'm getting crabs tonight at Costas, man. It's cool. I'm like, so I put my energy, because I'm Baltimore positive now. I put my energy into action. And I said, you know what? I'm going to promote every place in the city that sells a crab cake. Is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to eat them all. And the lottery's going to sponsor it one day, and Guinness is too at some point. They just don't know it yet. So that's what the crab cake tour is. It's a chance and it's turned into a chance to hang out with you, hang out with Tony, hang out with Juan, hang out with Merritt, tell stories about how great Baltimore is and can be and can attract great people that make a life here and live here forever. What's your favorite part of Baltimore in 2021?
Favorite part of Baltimore?
When people come here, and they do, and they hire you, and they spend a lot of money to hire you, you take them out, show them a good time. Obviously, you have clients, and you can take them to the pantry. If you take your top 5 places in Baltimore, they're probably really, really nice places. When someone comes here that's a client or a friend that's never been, Baltimore's a great place to take people. I told my friend from Minnesota that. I'm like, dude, it's a shame you're not here 3 days because I'd take you some places, you know?
Well, this neighborhood is one of them.
Fair enough.
Just be able to walk around and
it's European.
It's just has charm and character and grit, which is what makes a real city feel real, right? Like as opposed to something that just got built up and developed all at one time. I mean, there's just so much charm and history that happens here, and plus the scale of the buildings is so it's just charming, right? And then all of a sudden you've got you can walk around and you can pop into the Pendry and you can elevate your experience a little bit.
Or you can get Bertha's mussels.
Or you can get Bertha's mussels.
Or you can get a hot dog on a vendor.
Or you can go to the
get a pretzel.
You can go to the Cat's Eye, which Tracy and I call the mind eraser, because we always remember going, we just never remember leaving. So
I have danced in the Cat's Eye many nights. I can't say that I've ever been sober in there. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's for me with Baltimore. Like this picture on the wall here is old school. I would say that's from the 40s, probably 30s, maybe.
No, I'd say that's earlier than that. If you look at those,
I'm looking at the tops, and I'm looking for cars. I don't see any, so it is definitely earlier than that.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
turn of the century.
Yeah, closer to turn of the century.
Yeah,
because all those ships are all coal and steam powered.
Well, I'm showing everybody here, but this is what's on the wall. This is Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Trace Wave. There you go. Nobody watches these videos. It's okay. No one listens to me. But I was, for Baltimore and for a design eye like you, straight eye for the, what was it? Straight guy, queer eye. That's what you are. Okay,
right.
Fair enough. When you see a city like this, it can't be replicated. You can build the avenue out in White Marsh. You can fake a western town out in Colorado and make it, put something down in the middle of the desert, put Dubai down and say we're going to build Vegas. You can do all of that. You cannot replicate this. And the more time, it's like a crab, dude. You get me drinking now. It's like a crab when you come to Baltimore. It's unique to Baltimore. You can say, like my wife likes Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Uh-huh. You got, all of these kind of port communities. Providence has a little bit of this. Boston has a little bit of this, but not this kind of charm. And then you have to go to Europe. You have to see Dublin. You have to see Amsterdam. See these places to see that this city has this little piece of something that Dallas and Phoenix and Houston and Boca are never going to have.
Well, so here's the thing that I always think is the most compelling design element that we strive for, right? In whether I'm consulting for someone like Weller Development or something like that, when you look at,
well, they're building something there, but they're not building something that's fake Baltimore.
No, they're not
at all.
But I think the thing that makes a city great or any kind of design community great is when you have a confluence of two things, right? You have something that feels authentic, that grew up organically over time, like this neighborhood, right? Like this was a shipping town, a shipping neighborhood, with trade taking place over the waterways, right? So you have that, but you don't want to be stuck in the past. So if you have that, and then you also have something that is pushing everybody towards the future, you've got something that like is hope and change and moving something towards the future, but still rooted in something that feels like recognizable and feels like you're coming from an authentic place. That's what Baltimore really has, and which I think makes it, a unique city.
Charm City. How about that? Patrick Sutton here. I want to say Patrick Sutton home. What is the official title? You don't give me your card because we're friends, Yeah.
Well, my firm is actually just called Patrick Sutton Interior Design.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we weren't really friends until last night because you weren't in my cell phone. We were just on Facebook together. Now I know your phone number. We're solid, man.
Yeah,
but, Well, I hope everybody finds you, and they can see you out, and usually they see Tracy first, and then they see you. So,
yeah.
You married my childhood friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Best decision I ever made.
Well, here's the weird part, and Tracy will really – I never hit on Tracy. You were kind of like young. I hit on Sasha. So it was all the other girls. It was all girlfriends and Dawn and who else? I mean, I hit on all of them, but you. I don't know why I didn't. You were like young, man. Like,
can we do a shameless plug?
Yeah, that's what we do here. We're about to eat the chicken.
So we did come out with a book on my work a couple years ago.
No, I didn't know this. Why don't I know this?
Well, this is going to be for you, and I'll sign it for you before I leave here today. So this is Patrick Sutton's Story Interiors. It actually talks about how we use a narrative to develop all of our
portraits. Can my
next
house look that good?
Yeah, can.
All right, I'm just checking.
Yeah. But this is available on Amazon, Patrick Sutton Story Interiors.
Well, I don't want to touch it after I touch French fries.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be weird like that. That's a nice book.
Thank
you, bro. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad I didn't bring a copy of Purple Rain 2 for you, I got a copy of Purple Rain 1 in the back seat. I'll bring it in for you.
I appreciate that.
My books have happy endings. We win championships, except for
Nice.
that book about Angelos. He is Patrick Sutton. We are down here at the Chop Tank. It is all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. I should put my beer in the Maryland Lottery mug. I don't think John will mind that. We talked to John Martin about when we're going to get sports wagering together, so you can go check that out as well. And we got more. Tony Tochterman's here. Ron Furman's coming by. Merritt Dworkin's coming by. Ed Lauer's coming by. I'm leaving somebody out. Juan might come by. I know I'm forgetting somebody, and they're going to show up and wave at me and say, oh, you forgot me. I'll be like, no, sit down. I got an extra mic. I'm Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore.